Welcome to our regular trustee meeting for today, Monday, February 14th. It is now 5:10. If you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have an agenda for today's meeting. Are there any changes or corrections?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for the February 14th, 2022 meeting as presented.
Second.
Trustee Kretz?
Yes.
Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Trustee Wallace?
Yes.
I make a motion to accept the general ledger report in the amount of $465,437.62 for the January 26, 2022 payroll.
Second.
Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Trustee Kretz?
Yes.
Trustee Wallace?
Yes.
Make a motion to accept the general ledger report in the amount of $337,491.35 for the February 9th, 2022 payroll.
Second.
Trustee Kretz?
Yes.
Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Trustee Wallace?
Yes.
I make a motion to accept the payments listing reports in the amount of $1,197,188.05 for warrants through 2/14/22.
Second.
Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Trustee Kretz?
Yes.
Trustee Wallace?
Yes.
Mr. Zaharif, was there a reason why that was extraordinarily high?
Yeah.
Yeah, 780-some thousand was for the air packs. So the
Yeah.
we received all the equipment for the air pack program or purchase, including some miscellaneous items that we were waiting on. So it's now complete. We're paid the bill, invoice, and then we are submitting. Finance department's going to be submitting for the reimbursement through FEMA.
Right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the January 24th, 2022 regular trustee meeting.
Second.
Trustee Kretz?
Yes.
Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Trustee Wallace?
Yes. This is a time in our program when we have citizens to speak. You're limited to 3 minutes. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the Township Trustees? Seeing none, we'll close that portion of our meeting, and before we go into the old business, I want to wish everyone a happy Valentine's Day, and hopefully you'll get home to your loved ones sooner than later. Old business, it looks like we have none. New business, Mr. Zaharia?
Thank you, Board. On page 8 of your packet is a resolution to dispose of some office chairs. Once this is approved, we'll put them on the list for gov deals for purchase, and you can pass it as presented.
Sorry, I'm finding it. Here we go. I make a motion to adopt resolution number 2022-0114-admin-F. Resolution finding certain township equipment to be surplus and to dispose of it as presented.
Second.
Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Trustee Kretz?
Yes.
Trustee Wallace?
Yes.
Thank you, Board. Next item's on page 10 of your packet is the bi-weekly report for the Sheriff's Office, followed by the monthly report for the month of January. Are there any questions?
I had none.
I had none.
I have none. Thank you.
Thank you, Board. Next item's on page 51 of your packet is the bi-weekly report for HR. Are there any questions?
I did have a question. Is Trish
She's on there.
on? How's it going with United Healthcare and the issues we had with prescriptions and the doctors? Is it being resolved?
I'm just sending them to Missy to deal with. They don't necessarily know the outcome. But, you know, just so that if you have issues and you can't get it resolved, to let me know. But I don't know if it's, you know, how much it's reduced or if they're actually able to reduce it. I just want to say and I pass them on to her.
All right, thank you. Any other questions to HR?
I had nothing additional.
Thank you, Board. Next item's on page 54. There's also a presentation packet in front of you as well for safe routes to schools, and I'll turn it over to staff.
Board. So, I'm Max McConnell, the Economic and Zoning Administrator here, the Associate Economic Zoning Administrator. I just wanted to talk to you briefly about the Safe Routes to Schools resolution that I brought before you today, along with Greg Thompson, Stephanie Goff, the Greene County Engineer, other local jurisdictions. We've worked to put together a school transportation plan, school travel plan, which is a document that kind of lists out both infrastructure and non-infrastructure improvements for a school that we would like to see implemented. And it also helps us apply for a grant, the Safe Routes to Schools Reimbursement Funding Grant. So I think we've presented the packet, the actual travel plan to you in your packet. I can answer any questions you might have about that. But essentially what we're asking in the resolution is for you to officially adopt this travel plan for the Coy Trebine School, and then also to allow staff, along with the partners that we're working with, to apply for grant funding for 3 different projects that we're looking at as our kind of our first round. Project A is the multi-use path going from the school to Phillips Park. Project C is the upgrades to the school itself, so walking paths, and I think it's mostly paths for Project C. Project D, or I'm sorry, D is the schools, C is Trebine to the school, a multi-use walking path. So those are the 3 projects we hope to put in applications for on March 4th. And so with this resolution, you're essentially authorizing us to go ahead and do that. I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have about that, but I know you guys are a little bit familiar with the Safe Routes to Schools program for some previous work that the department's done in that direction, so we're looking forward to moving it forward.
Any questions?
I had none. Good to see it finally coming to fruition.
Yes.
Thank you, Board.
Will the grant, I have one.
Oh, sorry.
Will the grant cover all the costs?
So it will not cover all the costs. We got a cost breakdown of the different projects. The grant maximum is $400,000. It could potentially cover projects D, which is the school upgrades. That was right in that area, maybe a little bit over. The other 2 multi-use paths are a little bit more expensive than that, so we're looking at doing them in phases. So, the first phase would be roughly about $500,000. We would have local match in the form of work from the Greene County Engineer in terms of engineering the actual project, and then we would need to find some additional local match funding between the schools, the township, and the Greene County Engineer.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, schools.
Thank you, Board.
I think it's a nice collaborative project for all of us.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's been going great. Everyone's working together really well, and it's great to see it move forward.
And thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
There's a motion in your packet, and then I have the signature page that 4 of us need to sign, so 3 trustees and then myself, and then I'll have a resolution here. Still has the watermark on it. I'm removing that, so you can pass it by the motion in the packet.
So I lost it again. Bear with me. Move to approve resolution 20220214-CDR-A, adopting the proposed, wait a minute. Sorry.
Should be on page 55
Yeah,
of your packet.
Page which, I'm sorry?
55.
Yeah, it keeps jumping on me here, sorry. Yep. Make a motion to approve resolution 2022-0214-CDRA, adopting the proposed Safe Routes to Schools travel plan for the Coy Trevine School facilities, and supporting subsequent applications for grant funding based on the projects proposed in the travel plan.
Second.
Trustee Kretz,
Yes.
Trustee Dean,
Yes.
Trustee Wallace.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Do we need to approve? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Board. No, that's it for Safe Routes. You just need to sign. There's little blocks to sign it. And then it'll go to the schools and then county engineer and there's some other names on there as well. County commissioners, I think, are on there as well.
Just school board. School board's
Yeah,
tomorrow
school
night,
board.
you said? Yeah, tomorrow night, okay.
Thank you, Board. Next item is in your packet, on page 55, is the proposed update for the Township Economic Development Plan. I'll turn it over to staff.
Evening, board. Mr. McConnell's been working with Mr. Harris in regards to updating the economic development plan, which was originally approved in 2015, to include some emerging economic development tools. And those tools are such things as residential incentive districts, some grant funding sources, and the IDs for planning area of the Stonehill Village. If you'd like to, we can go through those. If not, they are highlighted in the packet in blue on the economic development plan that was proposed in 2015. If we want to, you can go through those. If not, we have a sample solution on page 56, you said?
55.
55, I'm sorry, 55.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I make a motion to approve, resolution 2022-0214-CDR-B. I move to update the Beavercreek Township Economic Development Plan document as presented to be effective immediately.
Second with discussion. Ms. Frick, should I abstain or is it okay for me to vote on this?
I think you can vote on this.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Dean,
Yes.
Trustee Kretz,
Yes.
Trustee Wallace.
Yes.
Thank you, board. Appreciate it.
Next item is the bi-weekly report. Are there any questions?
I had a couple questions. On Green County sanitary road on Factory, the tree buffer situation, one of you met with the tree.
Yeah, so,
Come on up.
Are they gonna take the trees down, or they're gonna push to have trees up, because it's a non-residential use, and I was not sure about the meaning of.
So, I spoke with Lisa Lander, who's the HOA president for the colony, and I spoke with Jason Tinku and the sanitary engineering team on Thursday. We had a kind of a Zoom meeting. They showed us preliminary plans for the site, kind of told us what was going on. They reached out last summer to residents and knocked doors and told them, hey, we're going to be doing these plant upgrades. And as you know, the Indiana brown bat has its claws and everything, right? So rather than, and this is what was explained to me yesterday, rather than wait until a survey could be completed, maybe there's no brown bats, maybe there are, and then have to clear in October and delay construction for a considerable time, they've decided to go ahead and remove the trees they know they need to remove now while it's out of season. They are going to be constructing the water softening facilities there. Having spoken with Lisa, we kind of made the HOA aware that sanitary understands the need for screening and buffering. It might not be everything that the HOA wants it to be, but I know that they're actually, sanitary is holding a meeting with the HOA on Thursday. I'm going to attend that to kind of offer the township's perspective, what our zoning code requires and things like that. it sounds to me like it's moving towards an amicable resolution where they're going to talk to each other and come to a compromise. And having looked at the preliminary plans, we didn't see any issues for zoning or fire or anything like that. So I think people are concerned about what that's going to look like when it's done, and I think that's fair. But I think after this meeting, a lot of those fears will be kind of put to rest. So I'm looking forward to Thursday, and if anything really big comes out of that, of course, we'll report back with any, happenings, interesting happenings. But I expect it to go pretty well after having talked with both parties, so.
Well, I'm glad that you're gonna be representing the township and that the township sees that we are concerned about the citizens' feelings about that. So I'm happy that we have you there to do that.
Thanks. So if you have any thoughts, questions, or whatever that you would like me to relay, send me an email or let me know, and I'd be glad to bring any statements from the trustees to that meeting or whatever. So
Thank you.
thank you all.
Any other questions?
On your PUD development build-out data, has River West been updated as far as since their last change that was approved? Do you know that one? And then the second was courtyards. When will that hit your list?
We do need to do some updates to that.
Okay.
It should be right around March, so very soon, every 3 months or so is when we take a look to really update that list.
Okay.
So you should see that, if not in your next meeting report, then the one following that.
Okay. Yeah, and the big one was River West. The lots. Did the number of lots change? It did, I thought, didn't it?
Yeah, because it had to come before the board, because
Right,
they had
we
to
did a
remove.
major
Yeah, they had to remove a
modification.
couple lots because of the wetlands.
And I just couldn't remember if we moved or if we changed the number of them. But I
Well, we
thought-
did change the density,
Okay.
and then you did approve that a density change, but you also changed the road modifications and a couple lots because of the wetlands.
Right. Okay. Okay.
I had a question on the river maintenance program. We're gonna try to put something together that has a maintenance situation. You have staff working on that.
Yeah, Mr. Amrine is working on that pretty diligently. That's what he's primarily
One of the
focused
things
on.
that I'd like to probably do is, I know that Hope Taff had put a request in 100 Women regarding informational type stuff about the river. And that didn't get voted on because of the project was not specific enough, I
Okay.
believe.
Okay.
And wasn't enough detail. I'm hoping maybe that with this river maintenance program, we could have enough detail to go to 100 Women and see if they would vote on that to be able to provide $13,000 towards a feeder for the maintenance program.
Sure, okay.
I think it's a good community involvement type situation. We can get more community members involved with it too, so
Absolutely.
keep us
Absolutely.
in mind with that.
Okay, absolutely. I'll let Mr. Amrine know.
Are there any other questions or concerns about community development and risk?
I didn't have anything additional.
I had none.
Thank you, board. Next item's on page 98 of your packet is the biweekly report for IT. Are there any questions?
I had a question on, it seems to be, this is the first time we've seen so many 41 not resolved items, and there's been a delay. Is there, people are off of work, or?
No, there's actually been a couple open projects, so they're considered open tickets until they're done. Most of them are related to trying to think of the word, Cat 5 cabling in my office and the new conference room, and then the new conference room TV monitoring system plus a camera. So those are considered.
Okay.
So there's a lot of small things like that. They're just waiting
and
for
just-
stuff to be delivered.
Okay, because this is the first time that we had, the numbers was so low
Yeah.
compared to the prior reports.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Next item is on page 100 of your packet is the Finance Department biweekly report. Are there any questions?
I had none.
I have one. Are we gonna receive a report on the safer, based on her report, the safer grant now is over with? The 2021 was the end of our reimbursement process?
The safer grant is over at the end of February, so we still have to bill for that. So when we're finished with it, we can definitely get your report.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to see how many people, and I'd probably want to work with the fire department on that to see how many people were hired from that, and I'm sure we have to do all that kind of reporting to the federal government.
We do.
So, I'd like to see how our numbers came out on that and how we could find another one. Another safer grant to help us out. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Board. Next item is on page 103 of your packet. First item is a purchase request of a new dump truck. Mr. Parks is here to answer any question. Budget justifications on page 103 with a motion on page 104 with also some supporting document in the packet as well.
Good evening. This dump truck is kind of a moving target, shall we say, due to supplies and all of that. If we order it today, or this month, it's anticipated we'll see it in the third quarter of 2023.
That was one of my questions, Mr. Parks, is how long we have to wait?
Yeah, well, they're telling us now third quarter of 2023, which kind of, I know in the budget hearings we said 200,000. We had to move some money around within the budget, because now they're anticipating, even though it's on state term and another one of our cooperatives, those get yearly increases. And trying to pin those down right now is just a wild guess. So what we tried to do was budget enough so that we don't have to come back to the board when it comes in. So these are due when we take delivery. The second thing is, one of the things we talked about in the budget hearings was a lease option. We provided that in your packet. As you can tell, it's today's rates. It's an additional almost $28,000. We have the cash now. Now, where are the interest rates going to be in 18 months?
Higher.
Don't know, other than you keep hearing interest rates are going up. So staff is recommending we just go ahead and make the outright purchase. And the purchase request was written to Stewart Freightliner for the whole unit, including the bed and all the other accessory equipment. We did this in cooperation with the two of them, so that if the board did choose to finance, we could, but I don't think that is staff doesn't think that is a very good option at this point in time. So.
If there's no questions, there's a motion on page 104.
I guess the first question, I guess, is can we wait that long, or do we need something in the interim? Are we fully equipped, I guess, or adequately equipped in the interim?
Yeah, we are adequately equipped at the moment. The one vehicle this is replacing is a 2001. It hasn't seen snow in probably 5 years, but we keep it as a backup. We've been pushing our smaller dump trucks in case we have a breakdown on one of our frontline ones. So, yeah, I believe we can make it to 2023.
Any other questions?
I didn't have any other questions. I was just, it answered all of my questions that I had.
And we'll call for a motion. Sure.
Make a motion to approve purchase request 2022-0214-road-A. Purchase request to Stoops Freightliner for 2023 Freightliner M2106 chassis with Henderson snow removal equipment in the amount of $225,000 and to authorize the township administrator to sign for the board.
Second, with one question, that'll be a 2023 or be a 2022 delivered in 23?
It'll actually be a 2023, because that's what it'll be built.
Okay, just because we,
Everything for 2022 has
we should put the
already
year
been
in there or
booked
not.
for the year.
Okay. Okay, and the snow removal equipment, we do or we do not know the year of that? Because we're saying in this motion it'll be a 2023.
It'll be a 2023.
Okay,
Because
just
they
based,
won't buy it ahead of time.
okay.
Trustee Dean,
Yes.
Trustee Kretz,
Yes.
Trustee Wallace.
Yes.
Thank you, board. The next item is a purchase request for 400 tons of salt. Actually, we've gone through some.
Yes.
This request is just to open the purchase order up so that, kind of like the one we did last month with the snow, we had the flexibility of just going ahead and ordering it and getting it in. I think we're one load short of that 400 tons that we ordered in January. So this is just to open up the purchase request. I'll be real honest with you. I hope we can close it once we fill the barn up at the end of the season.
Okay. I move to approve purchase request, VIP requisition number 22-road-0376 to Cargill for 400 tons of road salt in an amount of $23,000 and to authorize the township administrator to sign for the board.
Second.
Trustee Kretz,
Yes.
Trustee Dean,
Yes.
Trustee Wallace.
Yes.
Thank you, board. Next item is on page 106, is the biweekly report. I would like to pass on thank you to the road department guys. I have received a lot of great compliments from residents in our community. And if you follow us on Facebook, you saw a lot of great comments on there as well.
Yes, you guys did a great job with the snow removal.
I worked very hard.
Better than some of the other surrounding areas.
Yes, for sure.
No comment. Obviously, we started at midnight on Thursday night, and the guys went home at 6:30 on Friday afternoon.
Wow. Well, please make sure they're all thanked for their hard work.
Oh, we will.
Thank you. Anything else for roads?
Had none. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, board. Next item is on page 107 of your packet. I'll turn it over to the fire chief to recognize some of our employees.
Good evening, board. Tonight we have three different groups we'd like to recognize. The first is firefighter Lieutenant Brian Hedrick. Apologize, Lieutenant Hedrick. He has been nominated and will be receiving the Firefighter of the Year award from VFW Post 8312. I believe the recognition is on March 8th of this year, and we're just wanting to pass that on to you to let you know that he's being recognized by them. Second, I'd like to recognize firefighters Hart and Ostrowski. They were dispatched on a unresponsive woman. Her husband sent in a thank you note noting their quick and efficient handling of the situation, and the area where she fell, as quite often happens, was extremely tight and difficult to work in, and they did a great job there. So he sent a thank you note in and wanted to let you know about that. And then finally, has already been mentioned, John Schroeder was our specific contact, but all the maintenance guys helped us out considerably during the snowstorm. We were having difficulty getting support with snow plows, so Mr. Zaharia reached out to Mr. Parks, who then put John in contact with us and basically coordinated. They were listening to the radio and they were sending plows out to meet us on scene to facilitate getting apparatus in and out as necessary. So I know they did have to plow at least one medic out, and they were available for several other calls as well. So definitely above and beyond, and it's one of the things we're doing an after action on the event. We've already had our first conversation. We're looking to make sure that we can learn from it so that we can prevent similar issues in the future. And we'll be working with maintenance to facilitate some of that as well. So, but they did a great job and they supported us, and we really do appreciate it.
Maybe in 2023 we can have plows on the front of your trucks.
I was gonna say, just put them on the medic. Push the snow out of the way as you go.
There has actually been talk about looking at putting plows on our utility vehicles. One of the challenges we have is plowing is a little bit of skill and a lot of art. And we don't have nearly the experience that those guys do. So we're looking for maybe a middle ground where we can use their talents and their experience instead of having to make a lot of mistakes on our own. But toe straps, we're looking at everything from simple, adding toe straps and adding maybe some, I can't remember, the boards basically to get out of slick environments, all the way up to and including tows and winches and things like that. So having that kind of capability. So we definitely want to, and obviously plows we just talked about. So we're looking at all the above, and in addition to that, we're also looking at, because this particular storm had the potential for significant power outages, we were in contact with EMA, who was also in contact with Red Cross, to work on what happens if we have a large number of folks in the community that need a place to either stay warm or to run medical equipment if they lose power. So we had a plan for that that was contingent both on first responding crews and the auxiliary as well, as an interim until the Red Cross could get set up. And so we're working on kind of documenting all that so that if we have a similar situation, even up to and including tornadoes as an example, we have that capability kind of built in, and we know what to expect for it. So
something to just keep in mind, obviously, and you know it already, is the number of assisted living facilities, the number of beds that are incoming, and then a 99-bed nursing home coming right down the road. As far as in the event that they should lose power or lose heat or anything like that in the future, just things to obviously think through.
Yeah, and those present huge challenges because of, as you point out, the sheer number of people, and if you have a widespread outage, most of the facilities have backup power, but the backup power is not necessarily unlimited. And then our capability to provide care is fairly limited. So we can provide a safe space, at least for a short period of time, but we don't have the ability to feed and clothe and house people for extended periods. So even if we can take care of the emergent need, we still have to work through the issues of getting them long-term care. So yeah, it's a huge challenge, potential challenge. And so as we keep hitting these sorts of either major disasters or storms that have kind of a critical piece, we continue to fill in some of those details. And it seems like we're doing a good job of learning from the last one to then know what questions to ask for the next one. And I kind of, I guess, digress through point number 2, which is our winter storm land and report. So unless you have any other questions, we can move on to the next item.
I had just had one question on your section 1. Do you know what time on March 8th is going to be the ceremony at the VFW?
I do not, but I can get it for you and I can send it out.
Okay, I would appreciate it.
Yes, I will do that. All right.
Thank you, Board. Next item is a request of surplus equipment. And you can pass it as presented.
I make a motion to adopt resolution number 2022-0214-fire-A, a resolution finding certain township equipment to be surplus and to dispose of it as presented.
Second.
Trustee Dean.
Yes.
Trustee Crutz.
Yes.
Trustee Wallace.
Yes.
Thank you, Board.
Thank you, Board. The next item is a request to modify work rules. All the changes are in your packet, and there's a motion on page 108.
Two of the changes are fairly administrative, changing terms to match current organizational structure as we keep catching up and reviewing these. And then obviously documenting things in OSL, which is had become our de facto platform for keeping track of time and those sorts of issues. The last piece, which is a little more discretionary, is to provide the shift commanders a little bit of flexibility in who they assign to the OIC position. Right now, it's fairly specific about using the promotional test ranking for that. And generally speaking, it works, but there are some other things that the captains would like to be able to take into consideration when assigning it. So there are other reasons to develop besides just the promotional process. And there are some folks in the process that have a fair enough experience that they don't really need continued experience where they could provide that to some other maybe junior firefighters. And so those items are, as described here, listed in the content of the proposed work rules, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Wasn't the specificity to avoid favoritism?
Yes.
And how does this not conflict with that goal?
So it takes away the safety net, but it provides the flexibility to allow for other issues that are more subjective. So to your point, yes, it does take away the absolute prevention of that, where we can say, here's the only reason we do it. But we've identified that the risk of using favoritism for this particular thing is low enough compared to the value and the benefit of expanding the ability of the captains to use that discretion. And we have enough, I'll say, checks and balances in place. They're not formal necessarily, but having the communication between the different rank levels, if there was some sort of abuse that was perceived, we have mechanisms that can identify it, communicate it, and then correct it if necessary. So
the OIC designation has an economic value to whoever that is designated to.
Yes, it does. So. Yes. And so there are a lot of stakeholder groups in this, not the least of which are the people that are up for that. And so, again, that's one of the reasons I think it would be somewhat self-policing. If there are people that see that somebody's unduly benefiting from it, there's plenty of motivation for them to speak up, and there's both the management channel and the management channel for identifying that and correcting it.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed modifications to Fire Department Work Rule SOG S112.002, Officer in Charge.
Second.
Trustee Crutz.
Yes.
Trustee Dean.
Yes.
Trustee Wallace.
Yes.
Thank you, Board. The next item is the biweekly report. Are there any questions?
Any questions? How are the calls relative to pre-pandemic? Are we going back up the slope here to pre-pandemic?
Yes, we are. So I'd probably coin it more, we're returning to normal now. So the activity, the community activity has essentially resumed, and so our responses are resuming. We still had that one really high year right before, and I don't think we're in danger of probably hitting that, although I could be surprised. But we're definitely back to the pre-pandemic slump, or we've passed the pandemic slump, so we're back to kind of pre-pandemic levels, or at least all appearances are that we've met that. And obviously we monitor it on a regular basis, so if we see anything unusual, we'll catch it fairly quickly. But
relative to call volume and response times, when did we do standards of cover? How long ago was that?
it was 16, and the new version is being drafted now, so we'll have an updated version probably later this year.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. So
Yes.
the question being, at what point in time will we take a measure of if 65 has improved response times?
It will be part of that.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's part of the accreditation process, and we're looking to have that completely wrapped up and ready for consideration for accreditation by the fall meeting, which I believe is in August. So I would anticipate the standard to cover will probably be May, June, July, somewhere in there.
Thank you.
Just an add-on to my question before, the pre-pandemic, have you, looked at the type of calls that, we had before and seen if that was altered and the?
Yes, that's actually something we monitor on a regular basis. And generally speaking, just a quick glance here, it looks like our balance is about what it has been historically. Our service level might be a little bit high compared to prior. But other than that, at first glance, it looks like we're probably pretty close, especially on medical versus everything else. And medical is our primary driver. So yeah, service calls might be a touch high, but not, that could be just, we had a busy couple weeks. So it'll be interesting to see as we get later in the year if that balances back out.
Yeah.
But generally the blend is about the same.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Board.
Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board, that's all I have.
Our legal advisor?
Nothing right now.
Thank you. Mr. Rushing?
Thank you, and good evening, Board. First is on page 116 of your packet. It's a resolution to increase the official certificate of available resources for the township and the COVID-19 relief fund. This is due to the fact that at the end of each year, any purchase orders that remain open automatically carry over to the following year. However, if a purchase order is closed, those encumbered funds become unencumbered. So this does not affect cash. The cash remains the same. It's just that when a purchase order is closed due to either no activity on that PO, the PO was rounded off based off the invoice, or any other sorts of review, these additional funds need to be appropriated so that we can utilize to make expenditures on that fund. So we are seeking additional appropriations in the amount of $149,435.37 in the COVID-19 Relief Fund. I am happy to report that the COVID-19 Relief Fund is part of the CARES Act. The CARES Act is officially closed. Finance Department and myself have submitted all the final reports to the state of Ohio. So that grant and that funding source is now complete, and we are able to do a lot of successful purchases and reimbursements to various funds based off of those federal dollars. So there is a resolution on page 116. Be happy to answer any questions, if any.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion, I'll make a motion to approve a resolution to increase official certificate of available resources and to authorize supplemental appropriations for Fund 2905 COVID-19 Relief Fund as presented.
Second.
Trustee Kretz,
Yes.
Trustee Dean,
Yes.
Trustee Wallace.
Yes.
Thank you. Next item is a resolution on page 118 of your packet. According to the township's credit card policy and as a change in compliance with the Ohio Revised Code, I am to report to the board each year of any credit card reward programs or any sort of incentives that any of our purchasing cards offer to the township. And this past year, 2021, the township did receive, drum roll please, a whopping $75 in cash rewards back based off of our purchasing program. This purchasing program was just receipted into the general fund as miscellaneous operating expenses. So due to the policy, I have to present this to the board on an annual basis. So there's a resolution on page 118 just accepting my report of any credit card rewards for year 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Rushing.
There are credit cards that offer better rewards.
Duly noted, thank you.
Make a motion to adopt resolution number 2022-0214-FIN-B, a resolution to accept the fiscal officer's report on credit card rewards for 2021 pursuant to the township's credit card account policy as presented.
Second.
Trustee Dean,
Yes.
Trustee Kretz,
Yes.
Trustee Wallace.
Yes.
Mr. Rushing, I don't know if we're bound to use a card from them. What, do you have any idea what our purchase volume was?
I do not know the purchase volume. I can email out, I do have it available, the tier rating of our purchasing program in terms of how the rewards are based off of. It's based off basis points based off of our purchasing.
Okay. And again, only from a commercial credit card standpoint, as far as a commercial card or commercial account, depending on the volume, that's really low.
Yeah.
Correct.
Really
Just
low.
From the standpoint of what is
Yeah,
commercial
we
from
just-
both Chase and from Capital One.
We just entered in with Huntington Bank, this new purchasing program late last year. And we have identified a lot of different items such as potentially workers' compensation balances or other high dollar things that are fixed that we could use upon.
Yeah, some recurring thing, if you can get the cash back. So that's what a common practice is, to take your recurring and run that through, if you know you're gonna pay it anyway. So, and then just throwing that out there,
Thank you.
low-hanging fruit.
Yeah. Well, helps with our non-interest that we're receiving on our investments.
And the last item is another resolution. I thank our finance director, Ms. Terry Molden, and staff for reviewing this. After review, there was unable to find an actual resolution or an actual adopted schedule for charges for public records requests. Pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code, we are able to place a enabling fee that's reasonable based off of any public records requests, primarily due to the costs incurred in releasing these public records. This has been past practice. However, we had not been able to locate the enabling resolution in order to have these public records charges and fees for that. So this resolution just cleans that up, so we have on paper what we charge for public records, and we can point to a resolution that states that for 2022.
Just a couple of questions I had for you. So do you charge, this is past practice, or this is the proposed new practice? I'm sorry.
That's been past practice.
Okay. And so do you typically, do you charge the same for black and white as you do color copies?
Yes.
Yes.
No, we don't send anything out color, so, I mean, it's black
Okay.
and white.
And then do you charge for, is a copy printed or scanned or both?
It is actual printed, so it's the actual cost of the paper.
Okay.
If we do something digitally where it's a PDF format and we send it out, then it's, that could be emailed, that doesn't get charged, and nor can we charge it. We can't charge for emailing.
You can't charge the labor component of it?
No, absolutely
Right.
not. That is
Okay.
one thing we cannot do under the Ohio Revised Code,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Now, we did, before bringing this to you, staff did research to make sure that these numbers are kind of what we've been doing past practice-wise. These numbers are still accurate based on DVDs, CDs, and reams of paper cost.
Okay. My main question was relative just to the color copy, just because I know what a Woodhull contract runs for color versus black and white, so, okay.
I'll accept a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the Beavercreek Township Public Record Fee Schedule for 2022 as presented.
Second.
Trustee Kretz,
Yes.
trustee Dean,
Yes.
trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Thank you, and that's all I have this evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rushing.
Mr. Rushing, I just had one thing for you, just from a standpoint of, as interest rates begin to creep up, if we can just ask our investment advisor to just obviously keep an eye on commercial paper and keep, from our investment standpoint, be prepared on a 6-month to 9-month cycle to be able to refresh our portfolio. So 3 years from now, we will be in a better interest rate environment than we are today from an earnings standpoint. It'll be worse for home buyers, but at the end of the day, we just don't want to be caught sitting on 5-year when we could have done 1 year at a time.
Absolutely, and Mr. Sumner will be here at next meeting as well. I'll be happy to share that information too.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to our meetings, MVRPC, there was no meeting, it was canceled for February. The MVRPC Technical Advisory Committee,
No report.
Regional Planning Coordinating Commission of Greene County,
Executive committee is tomorrow afternoon.
thank you. The Health Department District Advisory Council,
Thank you, board. I went to the meeting. It was a very short meeting, one of my favorite meetings. Just a couple things to go over. I did pass out the agenda in your board mail there. They are adding a part-time position to help with some of the drug overdose peer groups. This is a part-time position, and it's 100% funded by grants received through the health department. Another thing that was discussed was because of inflation is doing another cost of living increase for the staff. Questions obviously came up if the board approved it for the health department, how does that affect long-term planning, and they could absorb it for the next 10 years of looking out. And they recognized one of their employees for working 35 years, Mark. Draw a mind blank, but we work with him a lot here at the township. He handles a lot of the inspections for the septic systems in the unincorporated area. ISIS. Thank you, staff. Because I could picture him, I just couldn't admit that. Mark was great to work with. I know I had several meetings with him, and I know staff worked with him over the years. So they also passed a resolution recognizing his work. That's all I had.
okay, the school superintendent, city manager, and township representative.
I've seen a lot of conversations last week with the city manager in regards to snow removal operations, and collaborating, as the chief mentioned, if we had a plan between the city and the township regarding if there was going to be mass power outages related to the ice. Good news, we got more of the sleet and snow as opposed to the ice. I did speak to the superintendent today. He did want to pass on his apologies. He couldn't make tonight's meeting in regards to supporting the safe routes to schools, but as the comment was said earlier, he's glad to see this being moved forward. It's been a long process, and you know, we've gone through some staff changes over the years with the city and the township, so get it back on track has been great. I will also have dates for next meeting to have our joint meeting. It's the school's turn to host. We are looking at June, July, or August dates with the school board, and they meet on Thursdays, so we would have a special meeting at their location on a Thursday. That's all I have.
Thank you.
And nothing for right now.
Greene County Township Association had our monthly meeting. It was hosted by Beavercreek Township and Township Trustees. Architecture, Tim Bennett was the sponsor, helped us sponsor the meeting. Trustee Dean and myself were there. And Greene County Sheriff Scott Enger gave a presentation, and also architecture gave a presentation showing a lot of what they do, and also fantastic pictures of our new fire station and how it was some of the development ideas and some of the things that they had to work through to make sure that the fire station was built to service us for the next 50 years. So it was, I thought, a really good turnout and a good meeting. Investment Oversight Committee?
Nothing to report.
March 8th is the next Greene County Township Association meeting that's going to be hosted by a Greene County engineer, and that starts at 6:30. So anybody that wants to go can RSVP if you're a member or associate member of Greene County Township Association. Any other comments or questions?
Just one thing, I just was looking at when you guys go into executive session, that second one, I think you can stop when you make the motion after the first sentence. I don't think you need to read that, where it starts no member of the public body. I don't think you need to read that part.
Thank you. Okay, hearing no other comments, I'm going to make a request that we need to go into executive session for Ohio Revised Code 121.22 G1 to consider dismissal and discipline of a public employee. Ohio Revised Code 121.22 G2 to consider the purchase of property for public purposes or for the sale of property at competitive bidding if premature disclosure of information would give an unfair, competitive, or bargaining advantage to a person whose personal private interest is adverse to the general public interest. And Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22 G6 details relative to security arrangements and emergency response protocols for a public body or a public office if disclosure of the matters discussed could reasonably be expected to jeopardize the security of the public body or public office.
So moved.
Second.
Trustee Kretz?
Yes.
Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Trustee Wallace?
Yes. We will have the executive session, and then at 6:30 we will reconvene for the public hearing on zoning case number 827.
Motion to come out.
I need a motion to come out of executive session. So moved.
Second.
Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Trustee Kretz?
Yes.
Trustee Wallace?
Yes.
I make a motion to accept the charges and the fire chief's investigation report designated by motion number 20220110-admin-AB.
Second.
Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Trustee Kretz?
Yes.
Trustee Wallace?
Yes.
Well, start the public hearing. I have the public meeting notice right there.
Start. Beavercreek Township Trustees Zoning Commission case number 827 at 6:40 p.m. The purpose of the hearing is so the trustees may review and act on a recommendation by the Zoning Commission to reclassify 2 parcels into the A1 agricultural zoning classification. The parcel ID numbers of parcels considered for rezoning are listed below. The parcels are located near the intersection of Beaver Valley Road and New Germany Trabine Road. This action will be considered a zoning map amendment. Okay, we can go into staff comments.
Thank you, Board.
So just a quick introduction. The public hearing notice says a lot of this, but the parcels proposed for rezoning are going from ES 2.5, which is ES 2.5, which is estate style zoning. The lots have to be 2.5 acres or above. residential use to A1 agricultural zoning. So the parcels were previously owned and split off by the previous owner who wanted to develop them and then maybe sell them. The current owners, Derek and Kelly Hine, now do not wish for that use. They want to farm it. And so it seems like the thing that we need to do is to zone their parcels to meet the kind of land use that they're prepared to put on the property. It's surrounded by A1 zoning as well, so we think it fits with the general character of the township in that area. And again, through conversations with the applicants, we know that that's what they want to do is farm it, so it should match that zoning. We do think that the ES 2.5 zoning, which are actually the only two parcels zoned that in the township, is kind of an example of spot zoning. It's right in the middle of a sea of agriculture, so this is not only kind of matching the map to what's being used, but it also kind of cleans up what I would consider maybe a bit of a reach for that zoning area. So it's been reviewed by Greene County Regional Planning, and they recommended the approval to the Zoning Commission, who then heard the case and recommended approval to the trustees, and staff also strongly recommends approval of the proposed zoning change. Again, for the reasons we listed before. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. There's also a map in your packet that shows the two parcels in case you wanted to see where they were in relation. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We could have our applicants, if you'd like to speak.
Draw straws.
I'm Derek Hine, one of the owners. Our whole goal, the previous owner separated those to sell them as individual lots. Our whole goal is to recombine all those lots long-term to be one parcel. I mean, that's kind of what we're going for. It's all agriculture. I want to keep it that way. I don't want to develop it. So that's the whole purpose of doing this. I think that's obvious, I would say, is why we're doing this. That's really the only thing we're going for.
It's always nice to go from residential to agriculture, so.
Yeah.
This township. Doesn't happen often. Thank you very much. This is a portion where we'll open this to a public portion of our hearing. If anyone wants to speak, we need you to sign in and give us your name and address. Seeing no one, we'll move on to close the public portion of the hearing and have a discussion among the board. Any comments or?
I have no issue with it. It's a good concept. It's, the long term is to combine it back into one parcel and put it all under CAD, and that makes complete sense.
Yep, agreed. We welcome you to have an agricultural mind. Hearing no other comments, we can go for a motion.
There's a resolution in your packet sample. We have one here. You can, so no changes to it. So you can pass it as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution to amend the zoning map of Beavercreek Township, resolution number 2022-0214-ZC-A as presented.
Second.
Trustee Krutz?
Yes.
Trustee Dean?
Yes.
Trustee Walls?
Yes.
One of our quickest zoning meetings ever.
Thank you so much. What are you gonna raise?
Thank you. Well, they farm the existing corner now that we got from Coven. So I don't know what we're gonna do with that part in between the two driveways, because that's the biggest parcel we're talking about, is the one between the two drives. We're either gonna farm it when we farm the rest of it, or I don't know. I gotta talk to some people about potential livestock as far as what we can do there.
Llamas and alpacas.
We actually talked about that.
And chickens and bees.
We have chickens already. Yeah, we have chickens in the back, but.
Okay.
Cut flowers, that's my plan.
Oh, nice. You don't have to feed them at least. Yeah. Oh, good. Well, congratulations. Thank you so much for coming forward, and hopefully it was a pleasant experience for you.
I'm just tired of the development. I want it back to nature.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All it needs a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Trustee Dean.
Yes.
Trustee Kretz.
Yes.
Trustee Walls.
Yes. Thank you very much, staff.